Hello friends, good afternoon. We are starting now. First of all, welcome to the ESG and Sustainability Think Tank. Today's course is ESG Fundamental course, which is a certificate program designed by our team at ESG and Sustainability Think Tank. So strategy and structure of the program is such that first 40 to 50 minutes we'll be discussing about all the content in the program, and after that there will be a 10-minute assessment. We can say 10 questions, out of which 5 questions should be correct, so that we should be able to issue the certificate. So I will request all the participants to attend and listen the program, listen the delivery very carefully, so that you can answer the questions correctly. 5 out of 10 questions will make us unable to award you certificate for this program. The program name is ESG Fundamental. So we are starting now, and we will allow entry of other participant for 10 more minutes from now. So first of all, quickly, I would like to make you aware about the institute from where you will be getting certificate, and all the future program will also be rolled out from the institute, which is called ESG and Sustainability Think Tank. So this is a platform for researchers, policymaker, educator, and consultant to share ideas, interact with each other, raise their voices, and share best practices related to environmental, social, and corporate governance aspect, and sustainability related practices, including SDGs. It is an initiative of Amulya Transformation Foundation and a registered non-profit in India under Section 8 of Companies Act 2013. So the purpose of our think tank is education with focus on sustainability, sustainable development goals, that is SDGs, and ESG, environment, social, and governance, and driving solution for the investors, companies, and communities. So we are posting best global knowledge on our channel. Channel is on the YouTube as well as on the LinkedIn, which is very beneficial for learners, ESG and sustainability practitioner as well. We explore the latest trends, researches, and strategies in environment, social, and governance (ESG) to help businesses, investors, and policymakers build a more sustainable future. This is very small list. We cover more topics. So as of now, I can say we cover ESG strategies and best practices, sustainable investing and green finance, corporate social responsibility, climate change and net zero goals, ethical businesses, and governance. So now we are starting our course. That was the introduction to ESG and Sustainability Think Tank. So what is ESG? Introduction to ESG. ESG covered 3 major factors, which are environmental, social, and governance factor. So within environmental, we can say impact on natural resources, emission, and climate. Then within social, we will discuss human rights, diversity, labor standards, and community impact. So these all are covered in the social factor of ESG. Then governance factor, corporate leadership, ethics, transparency, compliance, and there are many more which are covered in the governance factor. So this is the basic introduction of ESG. Like full form of ESG is environmental, social, and governance. And within each factor, what is covered, we have discussed briefly. So now we are going in detail of each factor. What is environmental factor? So within environmental factor, first is climate change. You must have heard in the various media, television, newspaper nowadays that climate is changing. This is the result of climate change. So what is this climate change? This is the first major factor within the ESG sub-factor. So ESG factor is in environmental, and sub-factor or first major topic within the environmental is climate change. Enhance your understanding of climate science, impact, what is the impact of climate change, and mitigation strategies. What are the mitigation strategies to reduce the climate change, impact of climate change? So this is covered in the climate change. Next important topic within the environmental is circular economy. Learn how to close resources loop and minimize waste through design, production, and consumption. So you must have heard about the circular economy like reduce, reuse, recycle. So this is covered in circular economy. So here we are learning about how to close the resources loop and minimize wastage. Then biodiversity conservation. This is also very important sub factor within the environmental factor. Explore the importance of biodiversity and ways to protect ecosystem and its species. So all the species we are protecting is called the biodiversity conservation. Then renewable energy, another very important topic is renewable energy within the environmental factor. Dive into different renewable energy sources and their potential for decarbonization. Because fossil fuel, if you have heard fossil fuel, petrol, and the other traditional sources of energy, they create lot of pollution and lot of carbon emission is done by those resources, those sources of energy. So renewable energy is like need of the hour, and we are diving into different renewable energy sources and their potential for decarbonization. The next is sustainable agricultural practices. Understand the challenges and opportunities of sustainable farming practices. Then water management. Learn about water conservation, efficiency, and responsible water use because every drop is precious. So water management is also very important factor within the environmental. Next is pollution control. Explore air, water, and soil pollution sources and effective control measures. So what are the major causes of pollution and how to control the pollution? All these are covered in the pollution control within the environmental. The next is sustainable transportation. Investigate low carbon and efficient transportation options like electric vehicle and public transport. Green building. You must have heard about green building certifications also. Learn about designing, constructing, and operating buildings sustainably. The next is responsible consumption. Understand the environmental impact of our choices and ways to consume consciously. Then climate action advocacy. Develop skills to advocate for effective climate policies and actions. Nature-based solutions, and it is also called NBS. Explore how nature can contribute to solving environmental challenges. So these are the environmental subtopics. Each and every topic is very important, starting from climate change, circular economy, biodiversity conservation, renewable energy, sustainable agriculture practices, water management, pollution control, sustainable transportation, green building, responsible consumption, climate action advocacy, and nature-based solutions. Now we are going deep into the next factor of ESG, which is social. So within social factor, first and foremost nowadays is the hot topic is the diversity, equity, and inclusion, DENI. Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Understand the importance of DENI in ESG and how to create an inclusive workplace. So all the workplaces, big corporate are now discussing the topic diversity, equity, and inclusion to make the workplace more inclusive for everyone. Then human rights. Learn about fundamental human rights and how businesses can respect and protect those human rights. Then community engagement. Develop skills to effectively engage with local communities and stakeholders. So we are discussing social factor and within that diversity, equity and inclusion, human rights, community engagement, then labor rights and working conditions. Understand the importance of fair labor practices and safe working conditions. So which type of factories and organizations companies are providing better workplace, better and safe working condition for its worker. This is also reported in the ESG framework. Supply chain sustainability. Assess and manage the social and environmental risk within your supply chain. Then Sustainable Development Goal SDGs. Learn about the SDGs and how businesses can contribute to achieving them. Then Social Impact Investing. Explore how to invest in companies and initiatives that address social and environmental challenges. Then Corporate Social Responsibility CSR. Develop strategies for effective CSR initiative that create positive social impact. So these are the social factor: diversity, equity, and inclusion. I am repeating once. Then human rights, community engagement, labor rights and working conditions, supply chain sustainability, sustainable development goals, social impact investing, and corporate social responsibility. Then governance factor: environmental, social, and governance. So within governance, first is ESG reporting and disclosure. So whatever is the exercise we are doing for environmental studies, social, and the governance, ultimately we are reporting all those in the annual reports of the companies. So here is the first topic: ESG reporting and disclosure. Learn about best practices for transparent and accurate ESG reporting, because ultimately all those exercises which we are doing has to be reported in the uh, annual report to the stakeholders. Then ESG integration into business strategy. Understand how to integrate ESG consideration into your business strategy and decision making. So not only ESG is only for reporting, but it is also for business strategy and also for integration into business practices, decision making. Understand how to integrate ESG considerations into your business strategy and decision making. Then third in the governance is corporate governance for sustainability. Explore good governance practices that promote sustainability within your organization. Then next is ESG leadership. Develop the skills and mindset to lead effectively on ESG issues. So what ESG leadership will do in the companies? They will develop the skills and mindset to lead effectively on the ESG issues. So ESG reporting and disclosure, ESG integration into business strategy, corporate governance for sustainability, and ESG leadership development. Now we are discussing so we have discussed about the ESG, its factors. Now we are discussing the importance. Understand the importance of ESG in the modern business world. Now we need to understand why ESG matters and what is its importance in the modern business world. So why we are discussing ESG? Because it enhances brand reputation and stakeholders trust. Because when any company is reporting on the ESG, that means they are taking care of all the factors as we have discussed in previous slides about the environmental, social, and governance. So if any company is good for environment, good for employees, society welfare, and good for corporate governance, then obviously and ultimately brand reputation will enhance, and accordingly stakeholders trust will increase. Then another benefit of ESG reporting is mitigates regulatory and reputational risk, because everything we are taking care from the starting uh, for all the major factors which can affect a business, which covers environmental, social, or governance. So when we are mitigating all these things collectively, ultimately we are mitigating the regulatory and reputational risk associated with our businesses. Then attract ESG focused investment. So when we are having good brand reputation, good stakeholder trust, when we are having less reputational risk, and we are mitigating regulatory risk, ultimately what will happen? We will attract more and more investment in our company. Nowadays, investors are also doing impact investing, because they are not only for looking for the profit, but they are also looking for the society welfare. how my investment is doing better in the society. Then promote sustainable growth. This ESG is also important for promoting the sustainable overall growth, long-term growth for the business. The importance of ESG is growing, driven by increasing stakeholder expectations, regulatory changes, and the global focus on sustainability. By understanding ESG, you will gain insight into how companies create long-term value while addressing environmental and social governance, social challenges. So here we have discussed about importance of ESG. Now, and also we have discussed about major factors of ESG, but discussion on ESG without discussing sustainability is not complete. So now I would like to discuss in 3-4 slides about the sustainability. What is sustainability? Because if you see, many people use the word ESG and sustainability interchangeably, but these are not interchangeable words. They are separate words. ESG is reporting related concept, reporting related framework, and sustainability is a larger concept, broader concept. But only discussing ESG for our reporting purposes without discussing sustainability is not complete discussion. So understanding ESG without understanding the sustainability is not complete. We also need to study the topic sustainability, which is getting huge momentum. Since there is no planet B option available to us, we need to make our planet sustainable. Sorry. So sustainability means ability to sustain. And sustainability means meeting today's needs without compromising with ability of future generation to meet their needs. That means we are not wasting resources, we are not consuming resources, we are not depleting all the resources quickly only for our benefit, but also keeping those resources impact and saving those resources for our future generation as well. So we are meeting today's needs without compromising with ability of future generation to meet their own needs. This is sustainability. Sustainability is a condition under which humans and nature can coexist or exist in productive harmony to support present and future generations. So whatever we have discussed in this slide, only this one slide, sustainability means ability to sustain and preserving natural resources for the future generation as well. And we and the nature can work and exist in the harmony. So we and nature can both coexist. Human and nature can coexist. Sustainability is a transition from standalone economy to integrated economy, because we are not standalone system, we are not standalone economy, rather we are integrated to various kind of other things in the nature. So sustainability is a transition from the idea of conflicting with the nature to compatible with nature. So as we discussed in earlier slide, we are coexisting, human and nature are coexisting. So we are not conflicting or competing with nature, rather we are compatible with nature. Then sustainability is a transition from a linear flow of resources to a circular flow of resources. So as I can see, more and more people have joined after we have discussed about ESG factors like environmental, social, and governance factor. More and more people have now joined. So we will have a quick recap at the end of this session for the benefit of everyone, so that they can also pass the assessment at the end of the training program. So sustainability is a transition from a linear flow of resources to a circular flow of resources. So as we discussed in earlier slides about circular economy, whatever we are doing, whatever we are using, we are reducing, reusing, and recycling. So this is called circular economy. And sustainability is also a transition from linear flow of information to a circular flow of information. Then sustainability is a transition from fossil fuel to renewable fuel. As we discussed in earlier slide also, renewable energy. We are transitioning, we are migrating from fossil fuel, that is petrol, diesel, to more sustainable renewable fuel, that is solar and other gases and electric vehicle, etc. There is a risk of climate change if sustainability is ignored. Sustainability is based on the principle that everything we need for our survival and well-being depends either directly or indirectly on our natural environment. Sustainability is a transition from short-term thinking to long-term thinking. As the name itself suggests, sustainable, that means long-term. So whatever practices related to sustainability we are adopting, ultimately we are thinking for the long term. So nothing short-term when we are discussing sustainability. So as we discussed till now, I hope there were some doubt earlier about the sustainability versus ESG, and now that doubt has been cleared because ESG is a framework or ESG is a reporting mechanism, disclosure mechanism, while sustainability is a broader concept. Now we are discussing another concept, which is sustainability versus CSR, because some people connect ESG with the CSR or some people connect sustainability with the CSR, but they are also different. And sustainability is a very broader concept than the CSR. CSR is only the one part of sustainability, which is corporate social responsibility. CSR pertain to CSR pertains to what we do with profit, but sustainability pertain to how we make profit. This is very beautiful line because CSR is just corporate social responsibility. So companies have some responsibility what to do with profit they generate. So they have to give back to the society. They have to spend that money, that profit on the benefit of society. But sustainability means or pertain to how we make profit. That means what activity we are performing through which we are making profit. That activity or that practice should be sustainable, long term, beneficial for the environment. We need to understand and agree that sustainability is not an upgrade of CSR, rather, it is beyond CSR. That is thinking about how businesses should be run and how profits should be earned. What are environmental and social impact of your action while running your business will be covered under sustainability. So as we discussed in point number 2 above, that sustainability pertains to how we make profit. So what are environmental and social impact of your action while running your business will be covered under sustainability. So now we can conclude that CSR is just one part of sustainability. Sustainability is a broader concept and it pertains to how we make profit and it is beyond CSR. While CSR is only what to do with profit. That means how to spend that money giving back to the society. So like we have discussed about ESG, sustainability and the CSR, there should also be a alignment of ESG strategies with SDG. So this is one very important chart which shows all the three factors which we discussed in earlier slides about the environmental, social and governance. And there is one mapping provided of all these 17 sustainable development goals which are published by the United Nations in 2015 adopted. So environmental, social and governance, there are three pillars, three factors, and under each factor, there are mapping of sustainable development goals. So if you see environmental factor, there is goal number 6, 7, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 are mentioned because these pertain to environmental sustainable development goals, which we will discuss in further slides. Then social factor, if you see the social factor, there are mapping of 11 sustainable development goals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 12, and 16. So these pertain more to the society, economic activity of people, and various kind of rights of the stakeholders. Then governance factor. If you see the governance factor, these 8 sustainable development goals, 5, 8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 16, and 17, these pertain more to the corporate governance or how to manage things, how to manage companies and countries and partnership. All these related we'll discuss in later slides. So alignment of ESG strategies with SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals, is very important. So that is what we have discussed this slide, environmental, social, and governance mapping with the Sustainable Development Goals, because it is very important. Whatever we have mentioned with reference to sustainability is derived from the SDGs, and it is better to have a high level overview of these goals. So we will quickly discuss without going into much detail about the Sustainable Development Goals, all the 17 goals. United Nations adopted in 2015 Sustainable Development Goals, also known as Global Goals. These 17 goals are with 169 targets. So in those 17 goals, total target number of targets are 169 to tackle the world's most pressing environmental, social, and governance challenges, economic challenges, after due deliberations and negotiations. And these are relevant for businesses and to be achieved by year 2030. So all the countries who have signed that document has to achieve the sustainable development goals, also known as global goals, by the year 2030. Primary call to action was to end poverty and save the planet and achieving overall global harmony, peace, and prosperity in the entire world by the year 2030. So these are the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. So UN has made 17 Sustainable Development Goals, which are, so whatever goal we have discussed in this slide, now we are uh, listing down one by one without going into detail. Because this training, this course is not for the Sustainable Development Goals, but just for the sake of mapping purpose, how to map ESG factors with the SDGs, because companies has to ultimately report the environmental, social, and governance factor. So it is easy for practitioner to map. So first SDG is no poverty. Second is zero hunger. Then good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reducing inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, life below water, life on land, peace, justice, and strong institutions. And 17 is partnership for the goals. So for all these 16 sustainable development goals, 17 is partnership for these goals. So till now we have discussed about ESG, its factor, environmental, social, and governance. Then about sustainability, the difference of sustainability and ESG, difference of sustainability and the CSR. Now we are discussing some important things within the ESG as an industry, because ESG has become now a very dynamic field of study and people are practicing in it. So we are discussing key trends and its importance. Importance we have discussed in earlier slides also, but here we are capturing trends and importance both again. So ESG has become more important because we are experiencing the true impact of climate change now with reference to extreme weather conditions like heat wave, drought, flood, etc. Discussion in the boardroom with reference to ESG are increasing. So if you see various kind of annual reports and other company press release, Now more and more board of directors of companies are discussing about ESG. So boardroom references and discussions on ESG are increasing. However, as of now, there are very few companies who are working on ESG to ensure that company is complying with the regulators requirement. So if we talk about India regulator is SEBI. So SEBI has issued various kind of requirements for ESG reporting. But as suggested by SEBI, there is a phased manner under which companies are reporting. So those companies are complying with the regulators' requirement, SEBI's requirement, as suggested. As per the World Economic Forum, environmental issues, that is, issues pertaining to climate change, covering climate action failure, extreme weather conditions, natural and human-made environmental disasters, and biodiversity losses, water crisis, among other, have got more importance and significance in last few decades, and last one decade rather. So after key ESG trend, why ESG is becoming more and more important? Because it is now hot topic for boardroom discussions, and also due to climate change and more and more discussion from World Economic Forum on environmental issues. ESG has become a trend now. Top global risk. So as World Economic Forum global risk report suggested, there are some top global risks where climate is the top agenda. And what are these risks? These are environmental risk, geopolitical risk, social risk, technological risk, and economic risk. So these are covered in a risk report issued by World Economic Forum. So we are discussing for benefit of all, because discussion on ESG without discussing risk related to sustainability is incomplete. So first risk is environmental risk. And within environmental type of topics or risk are covered. Biodiversity loss is covered. Climate action failure. Then extreme weather condition. Then human-made environmental disasters and natural disasters. These are covered in the environmental risk. Then geopolitical risk. Now more and more countries are facing this risk, geopolitical risk, global governance failure, interstate conflict, national governance failure, state collapse, terrorist attack, and weapons of mass destruction. So these are geopolitical risks. Now you see many countries are having like war and the other kind of tensions among them. So these all are called geopolitical risk, where governance has failed, or there are some conflict or national governance failure, or state collapse or terrorist attack, weapon of mass destruction, etc. Then social risk. As per World Economic Forum, these are the social risk. Failure of urban planning, food crisis, infectious diseases, involuntary migration, social instability, and water crisis. Then technological risk. Adverse technological advances, cyber attacks, data fraud and data theft, information infrastructure breakdown. These are some technological risks, high-end technological risk as covered by the World Economic Forum. Then what kind of economic risk are covered in that report? Asset bubble, critical infrastructure failure, deflation, energy price shock, then financial failure, fiscal crisis, illicit trade, unemployment, and unmanageable inflation. High rate of inflation in some countries. Then sustainable products. So we discussed in earlier slide about the ESG trend and importance. So one more important trend of ESG and sustainability is sustainable product launches. So quickly we will spend 2-3 minutes on this concept. Apart from companies and countries concerned about the reporting and ranking for sustainability, customers are also concerned about the planet and sustainability. So why companies are launching these products? One is pressure from the society and stakeholders. Another, customer is also interested to buy these sustainable products to save the environment and planet. Customers are placing greater emphasis on sustainability and related products, green products, sustainable products. You must have heard these concepts. There is a significant growth in the market for sustainable products, and consumers are becoming more educated about the environmental and social impact of products they buy or consume. So on some product, it is mentioned that less environmental impact. So people are buying more these products nowadays. 65% of global respondents surveyed by Nielsen are willing to pay more for products from companies that are committed to sustainable business practices. The Global Sustainability Study 2021, conducted by Global Strategy and Pricing Consultancy, Simon Kucher and partners, reveals significant global paradigm shift in how consumers view sustainability and their increased willingness to pay for sustainable products. So here are some data which we are discussing, like 85% of consumers are becoming greener in their purchasing in recent years as per study report by Business Wire. One third of 250 business executives surveyed by Accenture said that they could not keep up with consumer demand for sustainable products. So people are demanding more and more such kind of sustainable products that some companies even could not supply those products. Companies must act accordingly as per these trends to avoid obsolescence soon. Then we are discussing quickly on the one important aspect, impact investing. So impact investing refers to investment made into any company with the objective to generate a measurable positive impact on environment or society while getting a financial return. So as we discussed in earlier slides also, that investors are now focusing more on those companies which generate good financial return, but at the same time measurable positive impact on the society and its environment. Impact investing and ESG are not same because where ESG is set of criteria or factor impacting investment is a strategy which not necessarily may be focused on financial gain, rather there may be more focus on positive environment and social impact. Again, the same thing, that not only the financial gain is in focus, rather positive environmental and social impact is of paramount. So there is recent report by EY that says that investors are focusing more on environment, social and governance related risk. As per the report, over 80% of investors surveyed agreed that businesses should focus more on long-term value creation rather than short-term dividend payouts. Be open and transparent about growth plan and focus on environmental, social and governance factor because they have real and quantifiable financial impact. So this report summarizes that focus more on long-term value creation rather than short-term dividend payout or short-term financial returns. Again, 80% people said yes for these cases. Over the long term, ESG issues ranging from climate change to diversity to board effectiveness have real and quantifiable impact. Generating sustainable returns over time require a sharper focus not only on governance but also on the environmental and social factor. Environmental and social issues offer both risk and opportunities, but for too long, companies have not considered them core to their businesses. Public company CEOs should lay out an explicit strategy each year for long-term value creation and directly affirm that the company's board has reviewed it. So these are details to what we discussed in earlier slide. So as we discussed in one earlier slide, the ESG practitioner nowadays are considering ESG as an industry. So I inserted this slide particularly for ESG and investment professionals, or we can say ESG and sustainability professional. Investment professional apply ESG factors and sustainability related knowledge to their decision making while studying any company before making any investment. So nowadays, investment professionals have mandate that they need to study company from the perspective of ESG parameters or sustainability parameters. However, doing this is not easy and there is a big gap of skills because these professionals need specific skills and mindset to make investment decision based on ESG strategies and practices. So as we said that they make decision based on ESG and sustainability practices in the company, but this is not easy to assess all these strategies in applicable in any company, and there are very less number of people available who can do this work. That is why there is a big boom in the ESG and sustainability industry, particularly for the people who have good knowledge of ESG and sustainability related practices, framework, and approaches. ESG practices are continuously becoming more and more useful and relevant for investment professionals and investors who apply ESG knowledge and skill in their day-to-day business decision making and various other roles. So these people are very less in number, or we can say due to huge demand, more and more people are required in this domain with these skills. Upskilling is necessary for these professionals so that skill gap can be filled. Expectation of the firms which employ these investment professionals and analysts are increasing day by day due to increase in expectation of various stakeholder looking after the domain of impact investment. So as we discussed in first para of last slide, apart from investors and investment professionals, ESG issues and factors are also suitable to learn for people working in the domain of risk and financial consulting, sales and distribution, wealth management, product development, and anyone who want to improve their his or her understanding about this subject. Since this is an entirely new study, new field of study, there is no need to hesitate to ask from your colleague in industry or checking with industry expert. So we will keep on having more and more dialogue with the ESG and sustainability professional. And we would like to create ESG and sustainability think tank would like to create more and more such professional through imparting various kind of training, knowledge sessions, webinars, etc. Then there is ESG rating provider. So we will not discuss in detail about ESG rating provider, but this is a very bright and upcoming field in the ESG industry. Which field? ESG rating providers field. Because now companies with good ESG rating will get good returns, good investment, and also customer, as we have discussed in earlier slides. Consumer, customers, people are now focusing more on those companies which offer green products, sustainable products. So MSCI ESG rating, Sustainalytics ESG rating, and there are other CDP, S&P, FTSE Russell. So there are so many 600 plus rating providers globally. So now we are finishing our course because 10 minutes we need for the assessment. And now I am asking my colleague to post the link for the assessment so that you can complete our assessment in 10 minutes. We are 8,000. So ESG and Sustainability Think Tank is a group of people with 8,000 plus global community members. So we are 8,000 plus people on this LinkedIn page, and people are not from India or any particular country. Rather, we are spread across the world, entire world. So thank you.